I feel really inspired right now to make this video. I have a friend from way back who has been hitting me up recently because he's interested in getting into editing and digital filmmaking in general. And this is not something that he currently does. He's about my age, and he's looking to get into it because he's really interested in doing digital content, like editing primarily. And he had alluded that he was interested in going back to school for it as a way to get into the industry. And that is like a very understandable conclusion to go for most, career paths. But digital media in particular is one that I highly, highly discourage anyone from doing. And so that got me thinking, what do you tell somebody who wants to get into video? And this is like a lane that I know I've talked about on this channel, and I've talked to many people about it. I've gone to schools to present about how to get into the industry. And my biggest thesis is that you definitely don't need to go to school. And that's because video is really unique in several things. First, let me start by saying that this industry is an absolute grind, mainly because it is ever changing. Anything in technology is changing so fast. I don't even have to tell you that. You already know, with the birth of AI and just with social media trends and the format changes and lengths, things going from, it's horizontal to now vertical. It gets insane. If I were to list off all the things that have changed even since I started working in video professionally until now, especially when I went to school. So I went to film school, years ago. I went to film school right out of high school in 2011, and I went for just under 4 years. I never found it to be very applicable to getting a job and how to make money. It was primarily how to make films, and I think that's where most film programs fall short. Now, if you want to just go to school and learn about how to analyze a movie to set up a shot, and you just want that for educational purposes, you just want to expand yourself from a learning perspective, by all means, go to school, especially if you have the money to do so. But if you are specifically trying to make it a career path for you, getting yourself into a bunch of debt potentially is a bad idea. Because I can tell you, having been to school for film and working closely with higher education now, I can tell you that these colleges simply cannot keep up with the rate in which this industry is changing. Many of my teachers had never actually worked in the industry, and if they hadn't worked in the industry in close to a decade and a half. So much of the information was already pretty outdated, and the rate now that things are changing, which was even faster than back then, they just can't keep up with it. So all of the information that you're going to learn in film school, in my opinion, is going to feel seemingly irrelevant to you in several years. And I also think the biggest key, they're never really going to teach you directly how to make money with video. So how do you make money with video? That's a great question. And we're all still sort of figuring it out, I think, everybody who works in film, editing, digital media, anything like that. What I would say to you is just start making stuff, right? That's the key. That's the key to doing anything creative. Just start making it, all right? In order to make one good thing, you have to have made 100 pieces of dog shit, essentially, is what it is. So you better just start now and get all of that dog poo-poo out of the way so you can get to making your one good thing. And several things are going to happen in the process of you making that dog poo-poo, is that you're going to learn valuable lessons through your mistakes that you would have never seen coming through. You could conjure up the most unique question to a professor that you've ever thought of in your life, and it would not prepare you for the moment that you accidentally format a memory card of an entire job you just did. You'll never learn about checking your XLR cable, like these unique mistakes that are going to be unique to your experience. So each one of those is your lesson. The other thing too is it's going to help you find your voice. And what I mean by that is your style, your workflow, the way that you work. Those are all really important to making a quality thing. When I go out and I shoot a video, I already know exactly from top to bottom in my head how this process works. So it makes me work faster, makes me work way more efficiently. It reduces my risk of technical error and physical, production error by a vast amount, and that only comes with just doing over and over and over. I see people I've worked with people even on pretty high-end sets, if you will, who have really outstanding technical knowledge of a camera. They know exactly how every kind of every kind of picture profile, how every kind of lens works in these lightings under these apertures. They understand, they know the software front and back, they know all of that stuff. But but they've made a small amount of things and they all look really, really good, and they've made them under their things. But when they're put into a moment of pressure where suddenly they're being asked to make something that they've never made before, or they come across a hurdle that they have never come across, I can always tell that they have not had the repetition that, if I may say so, I have in some circumstances. Obviously, there's so many people better than me at everything. But in those circumstances, I've noticed you have not been in the trenches enough to know how to adapt and to push through this moment. And that's something that if I speak highly of myself here, I think that's one of my skills, is I am good at improvising in really difficult production situations. And that's only because the dailies. I've also just been doing this for quite a while at this point. I've worked in some extremely unique environments with some extremely unique bosses and some extremely unique clients you throw a slew of challenges and punches at you. So those are all things that you can only learn through doing and not through learning, if that makes sense. Okay, so you understand that you need to just start making stuff. That's like the biggest thing. Just go start making something, okay? I don't care if it's on your cell phone. I don't care if it sucks. I don't care if it's 2 seconds long, 3 hours long. It doesn't matter. Just start making it. The next thing I would do is don't start. If you're looking to make money, right? That ultimately, I'm assuming that's what you were trying to do. If you're trying to make money, don't start with making things that. Find what you think is fun, but also try and as quickly as possible find things to make that make sense in an economic corporate environment. And what I mean by that is, I think the best, because it worked for me, is go to your local coffee shop, go to your local yoga studio, go to your local flower shop. We live in New Hampshire where there are an infinite amount of tiny little puny, how are they even in business? Do they ever even get a customer through their door businesses? There's just a slew of those. So go to one of those. I would recommend going to one that you know and you like and you feel passionate about. Man, this place is awesome. People should come here. That's a great place to start in terms of your motivation and your passion, because that's going to come through in your voice of the video. Go up to them, use your big boy pants and say, hey, my name is Keller. I am my camera, you see I'm a professional here. I am looking to get, I like making videos. Just keep it as that. I would love to make a little video on your yoga studio. And if you like it, put it up on social media. If you don't, it's totally fine. I'm just trying to build up my portfolio. I'm willing to bet my life that they are not going to say no. And if they do, they're probably thinking you're trying to do, some gotcha journalism on them or something, and whatever. That's also something you'll learn, of how to pitch yourself in those moments. But again, you just got to start doing it. So go to them, offer them a free video. They're going to probably say yes. Go around with your little iPhone to start. It's free. You already got it in your pocket. Shoot some stuff, go on Instagram, go look at some local coffee shops, get inspired, understand the structure of the video, or don't. Make whatever you want. Just start filming, go home, slap it in your thing, make your dog shit, right? Make your first piece of garbage. And if it even comes out a quarter decent and you think it's bad, send it to them anyways. What, you have some reputation that you have at risk? No, probably not. And I find most of the time, even when I'm like, this is so bad, I send it to them and they're like, this is really cool. And the next day it's on their Facebook and they're getting likes and shares and whatever. And I can't tell you how many of my outside clients, especially in the beginning, I had when I was doing my dailies and I was hitting up tons of businesses, where a year, 2, 3 years later, I would just get a random email and they'd be like, hey, you did that video for us and we really liked it and it got us thinking, we have this event coming up. Would you come by to film it? And we'd love to pay you this time. All right, now you're a professional. That's all it took. Now you have your first paid gig, right? And this is where the imposter syndrome is going to set in, because now there's pressure and all that. But presumably in that 3 years that it took from that dog poo-poo video, or you consider dog poo-poo video, to when they ask you, I hope you've made another 150 videos in that time. Maybe not that ambitious, but you get my point. And so now you'll have a little bit more confidence, you'll have a little more skill. You might take your time, and I would suggest going and learning about that business and whatever. But now you also have another beautiful thing that you've created. You've networked with this business who is also talking to other businesses, and they're putting it on Facebook. Those views are being looked at by not just customers, but their customers could own a paint factory. They could own a shelving company. They could have a podcast. They could maybe be looking for a hand on a short film that they're involved in. You just don't know who's going to see your work, so just cast the widest net possible. And even if you're like, Keller, I don't want to make videos on coffee shops for the rest of your life, trust me, I am not making coffee shop videos. That is not what supports my family. That's not what has given me my income and my living. So don't worry, you're not going to get pigeonholed. And if you do, that's kind of dope also. But that's another story. So right there, that's all it takes is just making stuff, having the confidence to fail, having the confidence to keep going regardless of that failure. I mean, this is the typical, like everything I'm saying is the most boilerplate, motivational garbage. But I'm telling you that it is just not that hard to do. Now let's talk about, where do you learn how to do all this stuff? Let's say that coffee shop now calls you up and they want, hey, we're thinking it'd be really cool if we did that, because they're going to have ideas and you want them to. Don't be afraid to tell them no to their idea. I wouldn't say no, but I would say, what I would recommend, I love your energy, love that idea, but what might make more sense is to do X, Y, and Z. That's also what's going to come with your repetition, because you may have seen, I can't tell you how many times people are like, we want to do a commercial where a dude comes in a Simo outfit and he punches through all the walls, and it's like, who's going to pay for the sumo guy? What walls is he going to punch through? You know what I mean? Like, so you can help them tone it down or, modify their idea. That's part of your expertise. That's part of why they're paying you. Okay. They're paying you because you're the expert. So don't be afraid to help them through this process and make it fun. Encourage people. Something I try not to do is to make video seem so serious. I will tell people how fun and easy it is to do, because ultimately people often, when money is on the line, people get really nervous, and anyways, help them through that. So they ask you to do a video. They want to do this. You may not know how to do it. I'm going to introduce you to something called the internet, and everything's on there, okay? There are endless, and I mean endless, unbelievably talented and successful editors, cameramen, VFX artists, tripod guys. I mean, there is a guy on YouTube or on the internet for everything. And there is not one single skill that I have brought to the table in the last 5 to 7 years, 7 years, we'll say, that I have not directly taken from a YouTube video. And again, I paid the money. I went to film school, and I would say 10% of the time ever that I'm utilizing some knowledge that I learned in film school. I'm just being real. It's just not applicable anymore, but everything on YouTube is there. The industry's constantly changing. When Adobe came out with their AI stuff for enhanced audio, the day they released it, I went on YouTube and there was 100 people there to explain how it works, the best workflows for it, the best way to integrate it. I had issues with it. I went, there's a whole bunch of people troubleshooting it, people talking about best tips, best practices. So it was like, boom, the moment it came out, if I was in school, they might not implement that into their curriculum for 2 more years. You know what I mean? Like, their old audio guy might still just be obsessed with the one book that he learned on, and he has a hard time getting off of it, So, there's that. If you do just want that theory, people talking, sometimes I love to just hear a guy who has been working in the business for 85 years, because they have that repetition there. And even if they don't know how to use Adobe's enhanced audio AI function, they can tell you a really interesting story about how they used to put a sock on a microphone as a windscreen. And now if you forgot your windscreen, you have that information. Or sometimes it's just cool for a guy to tell you how things used to be done. Or something that's really valuable to me that is never going to go out of style is the people skill side of things. I love to hear documentarians talk about their methods for doing interviews and how to get somebody comfortable on camera, because that can make or break your interview in a huge way. And that's something that is much harder to get on a YouTube video, but that information is out there, is what I'm trying to tell you. Masterclass, Skillshare, a whole bunch of other things. There are a lot of just monthly subscription fees that are a lot cheaper than college, where they have, Masterclass has a whole course from Werner Herzog, one of the most accomplished filmmakers, one of the most accomplished documentarian storytellers on there. And you can just go listen to him talk for 50 hours. And that's your professor. You're never going to get that at whatever school you choose. So, all this to say, like anything else, just do it. Just go. Just start going. Just start doing it. All right. But make sure you're doing it and not just like I cannot stand it when I see people making stuff and it is sitting on their hard drive. Don't send me a Google Drive of your short film. Send me the YouTube link that you've shared on your Facebook, your Instagram. Show me that. Don't ever put any of your work behind some sort of a wall, because it is all about exposure. And even if your stuff sucks, there's tons of people out there who are making way more money than me, and I think their stuff sucks. But who's to say my stupid thing doesn't also catch the attention of some guy who's never seen something better than that in his entire life? Or sometimes they might just like the way your eyes are and they think you have pretty eyes and they just want to hire you for that. You don't know. Just put yourself out there, put your work out there. So this is a huge passion point of me, obviously, is because I have seen the school system fail a lot of digital creators, and also just their mentality of thinking that you have to have all this knowledge before you can start making. But it's dude, I'm telling you, there are so many things that I do that I don't even know how they work. And I'm sure if I went to school, I would know how they work, but it doesn't matter because I know how to operate them, and I know how to put it in a pretty package, and I know how to sell it, and I know how to deliver to a client, and all those things just happen with just doing it over and over and over and over again. Even just the way I manage my swath of footage over the last 7 years. It's all of that. When I go to a company and they're like, yo, we got so much footage and we don't have a proper file size system, I'm like, let me tell you the one I've been using for the last 5 years. I have terabytes upon terabytes of footage. Let me help you, develop that. And then also it's dude, you can make so much money. I won my Emmy editing cell phone footage. Okay. That episode was cell phone footage. And it was edited in the back of a van on a road trip on a laptop. So don't think you need anything fancy to make great content. It's all about a good story. It's about effective communication. And that's going to happen through watching stuff that you're inspired by on Instagram that you think is good. Try to copy it to the T, maybe put a little of your own spin on it, change it up just to make sure the teacher can't tell, and just keep doing that until eventually you're going to get bored of copying people and you're going to have your own unique ideas, and that's your voice. Suddenly that's what you bring to the table, and that's what's going to make you stand out. And even if it's not technically good, you don't know whose eye it's going to catch. And do things that you like. Make stories on things that you're passionate about. I could go on and on forever on this topic. I'm not even kidding. So anyways, I just want to put this out there. Send it to somebody who you think is interested in film or is starting off in film, even if somebody just wants to say, hey, that's absolute bullshit, all of that, everything that you just said, because there's more than one ways to skin a cat. Whatever you do is working, but do you. I'm just telling you what I have seen, and what has worked for me is just making stuff. And if you like it and you put in the work and you do it long enough, and even if it sucks for years on end and you just keep pushing, the money comes. I started this broke. I started making video with absolutely no money. I was pretty much homeless, and now I have a 9-to-5 job and I support my family on it. And we're comfortable. So I'm just saying it is possible. And every step along that road was just an absolute, this is all going to fall apart. This is a waste of my time. It always feels hopeless. But if you just keep doing it because you love it, somehow it just always works out. People hate that term, that do what you love and never work a day in your life, or do what you love and the money comes and whatever. That's kind of black and white, but there's a sentiment there that I think is true. So go start your YouTube channel or your Instagram, or I don't know. Go. What would be cool?